Hello, welcome back to the Mobile Motorbike Mechanic channel. I'm Steve. Today we're heading off to Knoll to do a set of fork seals on an Aprilia RS125. So we'll see you when we get there. Right folks, here we are with the RS125. This is the 4 version, the 4-stroke version, not the 2-stroke. So RS4, I think that's what they call them. Anyway, if we come down and have a look on this fork leg here, this side, you can see that we've got the fork is absolutely dripping. So we're going to be replacing these seals. So first things first, we need to get the front of the bike up on the paddock stand. However, up under there, in there's a nice little shield that we've got to remove first in order to get the paddock stand underneath the bottom of the bottom yoke there. So we'll get that little shield out and then we can get our stand in and lift this front wheel up. Right, so 2 bolts up under here. I thought they were 8 mils. Where are they? Where are you buggers? I can feel it with my finger. There it is. There we go, that's one of them. Ta-da. Come on, behave. Don't know why he's being such a pain. Are you going to come out for me? No, not yet. There he is. So with those 2 out the way, we can get this little plastic shield out the way. Here he comes. Just a question. Just a question of getting it out. Why are you being such a pain in the ass? There he is. Right, ta-da! So, plastic shield out of the way. And now, if we go back in there, you can see the bottom of the bottom yoke. So we can go in and get our stand hooked up on that. Okay. So we can reach in with our front stand, get him in the pin. There he is. And then up she goes, and now the front wheel's off the floor. Right, so we need wheel spindle out, caliper off, front guard off, and then we can drop the forks out. So we're just going to loosen everything off. Obviously not going to remove the spindle until we've got the caliper off and what have you, but just going to loosen it all off so that we're ready to go. There's a pinch bolt around this side. So pinch bolt here. So you just need to loosen this one off, but we'll take it out just to make life a little bit easier, because I know sometimes these spindles are very tight in this. So that's that gone. And then we come back round and we need to undo the 2 bolts on the brake caliper there. So that's 1 gone. That's 2 gone. Yep. Right, that's the caliper gone. Just give that little caliper a rock back and forth just to release the pads, and pull off that little wiring clip. Come on, off you come, you bugger. There he goes. and I need a 7mm to get the ABS sensor removed. And everything's oily and slippery. That's that one gone. Release him, and we'll just tie that caliper up. Tie it up there somewhere just to take the strain off the brake line. There we go, lovely job. Right, front wheels are ready to come out. What we need to do on this one, these are really stiff, these spindles, so I'm just going to get a soft face to mallet and just tap that out. Makes life a little bit easier for me. Space that. And spindle's gone. So pull the wheel out. There she goes. And now we just got to get this front guard off. So a couple of Allen bolts here, and this bottom one's held in with a 10mm on this side. There we go. You can see on this one here how you use the 10mm to undo the nut on the back. When you take these bolts out, you notice there's a little top hat spacer, so make sure you don't lose those. And then it's just a question of undoing the top two. And the other one gone. Those top two don't have the little metal spacers in. Alright, front guard's gone. And we're just left with the forks now. Right, so we finished down the bottom end, so up to the top. First thing we want to do is just slacken off the top yoke pinch bolt. Just like so. And we'll come over and do the other side as well, as soon as we're here. Oh, they're tight. There we go. Right, so that's those two slackened off. And now we can just undo the top of the forks. So, let me grab 30mm. Right, so 30mm socket on an extension. It shouldn't be too tight, but they're tight enough that once the forks are released from the bike, you might not get them undone. So you just want to undo them whilst they're still on the bike. Just makes life easier for you later. Still a bit tight. Yeah, there we go, that's it. Just as long as you can undo them by hand. There, loose enough. So forks are ready to come out now, but we need to take a measurement of how much the fork is sticking out of the top yoke there. So we just go in with our measure. I reckon that's 8mm that we're sticking out. We'll come over, do the same. Yeah, looks like 8mm to me. So when we put the forks back in again, we'll put them back in at 8mm protrusion. Right, so we can now undo the bottom yoke bolts. So if you zoom in down there, you can see on the bottom yoke, you see there's the split on the bottom yoke. So you've got 1 and 2 bolts down there. They're the same size as this one up here. So just those two down there. Boom, boom, boom. Right, remember when you undo these, the fork could drop out. So when you undo them, just be aware that the fork leg could drop out. So undo one from the top, like so. Get it a good few turns out, because when you undo the other one, this will spring out. And then all I do is go in from the bottom to do the second one. And the reason I go in from the bottom is because, I'll show you in a second, just as soon as I get this one lined up and get it going. Come on, you bugger. That's it. Yeah, it's ready. Right. You can reach it under and grab the fork leg. And as soon as that comes loose, there you go. The fork's just dropped out. And you don't want that falling out and smashing on the floor and damaging. Right, that is our offending fork leg out. And you can see the lines of oil and everything on there. Right, let's get the lid off this one and get it draining. With our 30mm socket, we can undo the top of the fork. Top of the fork gone. And this exposes, oh, already we've dropped it. There's two split bushes. Oh, there's a split bush inside there. So, don't know if you can see in there. One half's already fallen off. That's the other half. So you've got to take those two parts out. There we go. And then you've got the big washer that needs to come out. There we go. And if you can see that, there's a recess in there. So it only goes in one way round. There's no recess. So when it goes back together again, those two half, or that split bush goes like that around the top of the collar. We'll come to that, review it when we come to put this one back together again. Anyway, that's all there. And now we need to upend this and drain the oil out. Now, full disclosure, I came to do this job 2 days ago, had the wrong seals. So I know there's no fork oil in this leg. So what I can do is I can just pull it apart, leave that there, and I can crack on with getting the seal replaced. Obviously, if you're doing it and it's your first visit to the forks, there's going to be oil inside. So just be aware. There should be about 400, I think it's 440 mil on the according to the service diagram or service manual. So anyway, what we need to do is we need to get this seal out, get the retaining ring out, and get the seal out from inside there. Okay, so getting these seals out, what we need to do is very carefully, we're going to go in the gap between where the seal is and the fork leg. And you just want to ease it out nice and gentle, just like so. That's the seal gone. Well, that's the dust seal gone. And then inside there, you can see this is the retaining clip. So we're just going to spring him out, pop him up there. And then this is the fork seal itself. Now the only way you can get these out is big screwdriver, and you've got to get underneath the lip of the seal and then just give them a tap. Turn it around and give them another tap. There we go. And that's the seal out. Seal's gone. And then there should be a large washer on top of the fork bushing. Now we're not going to replace the fork bushing, we're just here to do the seals. So we'll just pop the washer back in again and we'll get the new seal and pop it in place. Decent quality Ari seals. They are very good quality, these ones. And so we've got a pair of dust seals there, so we'll just get the one out for now. the top, and I've got a pair of the fork seals. So we always replace both sets. I know some people just replace the seal, the actual oil seal, but I always replace both. Some people say, oh, you know, you're costing the customer more money, but if you want to do it properly, you should do it like that. Well, that's what I think anyway. Right, so what we'll do is, the very first thing to go on is the dust seal. So what we're going to do, just going to grab a bit of red rubber grease, always with the red rubber grease. And we're just going to gently go around the inside of the seal just to help lube it up. And we're going to pop that onto the fork. I'm going to run it right the way down. There we go. And now we're going to do the same with the oil seal. Now the oil seal does have an open side and a closed side. So you just get this lube on here and I'll show you what I mean. So closed side and then an open side. Okay, the closed side needs to go down. So we'll just pop that on, and as it goes on, we just want to bring it back up again. You can see how the seal's wiping the oil off. You might think that's clean because you've wiped it with a rag. Yeah, look, that's clean. No oil on there. Well, when you bring a seal down and bring it back up again, you can see it's still wiping oil off the surface. So what we want to do, ooh, hang on, we've got a bit of dirt trapped in that one. Let's get that off and get that cleaned up. You see that little bit of dirt there? Where's that come from? I wonder. Let's not have that in there because that will cause us issues. Right, start again. So as you put it on, give it a little twist. Get it so far, bring it back up, bring it back down, make sure it's doing its job. And then what I like to do is I like to look along the length of the actual fork. So just make sure that lip isn't folded under at any point. It's just a little check now can save you taking the whole thing apart again. Right, I'm happy with that. Pop them down to the bottom. And now we just need to get our fork tube placed in. Now we've got that washer in there, so we'll drop him on first so we don't lose him. And then it's just a question of popping the fork tube on. And that's it. Okay. Now we need to set these seals, but we'll do that in a second. So back to the top of it. And remember our big washer and split bush. So the big washer goes on top, and then the split bush, one side, two sides, and as it comes up it just drops into place and it's captured like that. That ain't going anywhere. And you can bring the fork leg up to it. Done. Last thing to do, pop the cap on. Now people will be screaming, you haven't put any fork oil in, you haven't set the seals, you haven't done this, you haven't done that. I know, we're not doing that yet. Chill out. Just wait. All I want to do is get that seated. Okay, so now we need to set that fork seal, the oil seal. So we're just going to push it down as far as we can with our fingers, and then we'll get our fork seal driver and knock that in. Block of wood on the floor to protect the cap. Fork seal driver into place. Just like that. and we can drive the seal in. Right, with the seal set, we've got the seal retaining clip in place. So it's just a question of sliding down the dust seal and fitting that. All done. So now what we can do, get the cap off and fill it up with brake fluid. Fill it up with fork oil. Right, so we're going to put the fork oil into the fork. Now, we've had it before on the channel. People have come at me for not measuring the air gap at the top of the fork and only putting in the recommended amount of fork oil. Now, according to Aprilia and according to their workshop manual, these forks take 440 cubic centimeters or milliliters of oil. That's all they give you. That's the only dimension, that's the only size they give you. 440 mil. So that's all I can do. If you don't think that's right, leave it in the comments. But like I say, according to their service manual, that's what you should do. So what we're going to do, 440 milliliters of fork oil going in. So you can't go quick with this process, you just got to take it nice and steady. You can see it gradually, all the air coming out. So we'll keep going until we get all of this in. Well, it's still blubbing away. Right, that's all of that in. Don't think we can get any more out of that one. So we'll put our big washer and all the bits back on again. Reassemble it. There we go, and our cap back on. And we'll just snug him down, obviously hand tight, until we get it back in the car, back in the bike. Right. That's pretty bloody stiff. Right, let's get it back in the bike. Okay, so refitting is the reverse of removal, as they say. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass that fork leg up from underneath, and we're just going to get it in place. Hang on. In you go, you beggar. Right. And now you're just going to nip that bolt just to hold the leg there. Right, so we just need to measure 8 mil from the top of the yoke to the top of the fork leg. So we'll just go and grab a ruler, make sure we're correct on that. Right, that's about 6 mil at the moment, so we just need to come up a couple of mil. Now, how are we going to do this? Might actually be easier. I'm just going to reposition myself. So I can just come onto this bolt here. Make life easier for myself. Now, 8 millimeters is there. Right, so we just nipped that one off. Now I can go down and to the bottom yoke and do up the two down the bottom there. With those two bottom ones done up, that's holding the fork, we're going to undo the top one again. Okay, and now we can tighten up that top cap. If that's in place and tightened up, then the top cap's really difficult to do up. So we'll just release the clamp, do the top bolt up, do the clamp back up again. Right, that's all done. We'll do the other side now as well, which is exactly the same as this one side, so you don't need to see that. So come back to us in a minute or two when it's all back together again. That's all back together again now. Everything's tightened up at the top end, so we can start to look at reassembling everything. However, if you look at that caliper, it's pretty manky because it's got oil all over it. So what we'll do is we'll give that a good clean off, make sure the pads aren't contaminated, and get it all back together again. That's looking a damn sight cleaner. So, string him back up again for the second, and then we'll get the front wheel fitted. Just before we fit the front wheel, I'm going to clean the disc as well, just in case there's been any oil contamination on that. So we've just got a bit of brake cleaner, a cloth, and we'll just go around the disc and make sure there's no oil on that one. And if you were watching at the start of the video, you'll notice I'm putting the wheel in before I put the front guard on, just because it's easier this way around. Okay, so front wheel going in. Bit of a knack to this. So you've got what was the old Speedo drive off the RS2, because it's the same wheel I think, but this one uses electronic Speedo. So you've got to put that in on this side. You've got a small spacer that you've got to put in on that side, but nothing to hold it onto. And then you've got the spindle itself, which you've got to fit in. So let me just grab a little bit of grease for that spindle. Okay, so for fitting the spindle, or fitting the front wheel, spindle goes in, and then we need this spacer in place. Now, there's no cutouts or anything that these two tangs need to go into, so that can just go on, boom, done. Okay, however, if you look at this piece here, there's a cutout, and on the back of the fork leg just there, that needs to locate in there. So like I say, bit of an arse to get it all done. So I'll fit it, and then we can come back in and have a look at it when I've done it. Okay, so with the spindle half in, we've now got to apply this spacer onto this side, and at the same time push the spindle through, and at the same time pick up on the other fork leg. It's a bit of a nightmare. And then you need to come back round this side and double check around the back that that tab is located correctly on that spacer. So with all that in place, we can now put the wheel spindle in all the way, and the wheels rotating, no horrible noises, no nastiness, we're good. So we can put the washer and the nut on the end. We can tighten all that up, and then we can put the pinch bolt in this side. Pinch bolt in on this side. Right, let me grab a 22 and a 17. We'll do that spindle up do the pinch bolt up, and then we can get on and fit the caliper. And now we get the big one in. That ain't going anywhere. No horrible noises, no nastiness, all good. Okay, so with the wheel spindle all tight, just need to do this pinch bolt up. Done. Right, let's get this caliper back on. Make sure the pads are apart. Pop it on the wheel. And we can drop the bolts in. There's one. There's two. And now we can get that little clip goes on the bottom of the fork leg there. And the ABS sensor goes in its hole. And there should be a 7mm into there. Get you that way. Right. Get all that lot snugged down. And then we can fit the front guard. Right, so we've just fitted this front caliper, and if you spin the front wheel, no horrible noises, everything's good, apart from if we spin the front wheel and pull the front brake, nothing happens. Nothing happens until you pump out the pads on the front caliper. So don't think you're finished, get on your bike and go down the road, because you'll pull the front brake and nothing will happen. So you've got to make sure those pistons are pumped back out again. Let's get the front guard back on again. And we've just got to line up with our bolts. 10mm. Like I say, I took this off after I did the front wheel, and in hindsight, shouldn't have done it. It's a damn sight easier doing it this way. $10mm. Just reach inside and zip that one up. Sorted. So the last thing we need to do is put this little windage tray onto the bottom of the bottom yoke. So let's get the stand out. And now we can fire this one back in. Really awkward to do. I don't understand why it's quite so awkward. It's easy to get in there, but then it's a right game getting it the other side of the fairing, you see. Probably need to take that piece of fairing out, which would make life a lot easier, but I haven't, so there we go. We'll just push it up like that and get it into place. Right folks, that's this one all completed. So like I say, brakes are pumped back up again, forks are all done. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, share amongst your friends, and we'll see you again on the next video. And in case you do any work on your bike in a car park, make sure you check the rules. We can park here all day for free.